everything national, everything subnational, especially things that has to do with the public good, public importance, frank, important conversations, sometimes difficult ones. This is where it happens and is geared towards the development of this great nation called Nigeria. I dare say, Otutoma to, Eastern brothers and sisters, in Akwana to our northern brothers and sisters, Ekaro, down here at the south, and, Ahelo, at least if you don't belong to any of those languages, good morning is right for you. Thank you for joining us. I am, in fact, we are so delighted to have you here. And of course, Emeka Daniel is here. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Femi.
Right. How do you do?
Very well, very fine, thank you. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Good morning to the metaverse. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and it promises to be another wonderful episode of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Just yesterday, we were talking about the Rivers State government, the drama between the governor and the House of Assembly. Interestingly, that same yesterday, we've had new developments. So the House of Assembly has actually served the governor and his deputy, Governor Siminalayi Fubara, and his deputy, Ngozi Odu, notice, a misconduct notice. And guess what? They are charging the governor so many allegations, the major ones. The governor, they said part of the gross misconduct committed by the governor and his deputy, number one, for obstructing the House of Assembly, not enabling them carry out their constitutional duties, okay, for reckless and unconstitutional spending of public funds, and for appointment of persons into government positions without the required screening and confirmation, for withholding salaries of House of Assembly members, and of course for seizing the salary of the clerk as well. These and many more allegations, okay, have been slammed on the governor and his deputy, and they are expecting him to respond. So we'll be looking at these and other big stories as usual on the Morning Spring this morning. Once again, good morning and welcome to Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Thank you for joining us once again. So what do you think, Femi? Looking at what happened at Rivers State, just yesterday we were having that conversation. Remember I asked the media aide to the governor, that does he believe that the House actually has legal rights to impeach the governor of Rivers State? And he said, fine, yes, that they have the right to impeach, but they cannot remove the governor, that they do not have such powers. So let's see how it plays out. Let's just see how it plays out in Rivers State. A lot of protests, a lot of people are talking, and some people are saying if they should impeach the governor, there would be trouble. Let us see exactly what happens. We just hope that the rule of law takes its course in Rivers State.
Yeah, that's just the way it is, and we are monitoring situations as it unfolds. The rule of law on one thing, political undertone on another. But right now, the papers are in. We'll go on this quick break, and when we return, the program will continue where we say it as it is. Let's remind you that you can follow us on all our social media platforms and be a part of this program. As I usually say, this is, the time where people get out to go and do their normal business, but you have nothing to miss. And even as you undergo our YouTube channel is there for you to be a part of the program at Western Spring TV. We'll be back. Good morning. All right, we'll kickstart this conversation from the Nation newspaper, The Nation, and it has boldly written there, Assembly list Fubara's 19 sins. Assembly list Fubara's 19 sins. And of course, below that, we have lawmakers ask a governor, deputy to defend gross misconduct allegations. No letter received by government. Lawmakers ask governor, deputy to defend gross misconduct allegations. No letter received by government. Interesting to note, and that's what Daniel talked about earlier. Just above that, House of Reps donate 705 million naira to support Tinubu's humanitarian programs, and these has been getting tongues to wag about that gesture from the parliamentarians donating money to the president for him, to use for interventions to the vulnerables. As the nation put it, House of Reps donate 705 million naira to support Tinubu's humanitarian programs, and it's one thing to say. You guys know which persons needs this money in your constituency, but then putting up such a money of 705 million naira presented to the president for him to intervene in humanitarian programs. It's many will say self-serving, and it's more like patronizing the president. There are ministries that can handle it. You guys, you are representing the people, and you cannot use such money to better the lives of your people directly. To bring it to the president for him to use it. But then, wait to see. On Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, we had $45 billion to economy, says Oladipo. Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, we had $45 billion to economy, and says Oladipo. That is still on the front page of the Nation newspaper. And top strip, drop in food. Gas prices reduces inflation to 23.18%. Drop in food, gas prices reduces inflation to 23.18%. Really? Interesting to see if actually these really reflect
absolutely
the rate prices of things in the market.
Is it not the same market
reduction
we are buying from?
Well,
because I've not seen the reduction. Personally, I have not seen any reduction in food prices. So when the MBS, with all due respect, when the MBS bring out these statistics, the question is, has it trickled down to the average Nigerian on the street? Okay. How is it affecting Emeka Daniel, an ordinary Nigerian?
Right.
Okay. Because when you say prices have gone down and you bring out your statistics, your report, how has it affected the average Nigerian?
Exactly.
Because Nigerians don't really care about these statistics. We want to see how it has affected the price of Gary in the market. So, and I know a lot of people will say, well, these are just stories. Let us see the reality on ground. Right.
The writer to that says, MBS report shows 130 basis points slash. That's a writer to that story that says dropping food, gas prices reduces inflation to 23.18%. By the way, maybe the price of the cooking gas, there is a reduction to some certain amounts. And for Daniel, you are an elite. Maybe you buy from the stores. You buy from the mall. You don't go to the regular market. But, beside that, Dangote to build Olokola Seaport Itori cement plant. Again, Dangote to build Olokola Seaport and Itori cement plant. All right. If it will benefit the good people of this nation and create jobs, why not? And El-Rufai stands diminished with his actions, says APC. It seems the dust is yet to settle. El-Rufai stands diminished. That's in quotes there. In inverted commas rather, with his action, says the APC. And we wait to see who stands diminished. Either is the party is left the APC or the man, El-Rufai himself. That will be all from the Nation for today.
We move straight to the Punch newspaper this morning. Let's check out some of the stories on the Punch newspaper. Tension in Rivers Assembly. Tension in Rivers as Assembly serves Fubara misconduct notice. Tension in Rivers as Assembly serves Fubara misconduct notice. With a rider, Dantita tightens security. Lawmakers list 19 infractions against Governor. Amaichi camp kicks. That's an interesting one there on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And right there at the middle of the page, you'll see the picture of the president of the Dangote Group, Chief Aliko Dangote himself, and the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun. Dangote Group visited the governor of Ogun State. I guess that was yesterday, and that's why we have that picture right there. Just to discuss business as usual, business. We all know Dangote for business and not politics. So that is that. Then moving to the top strip of the Punch newspaper this morning. Wike revokes 4,794 FCT land titles, over 6.9 billion naira ground rent. Wike revokes 4,794 FCT land titles, over 6.9 billion naira ground rent. Now that's a huge one there. Revocation of land titles, and it's quite painful when, as a Nigerian, you acquire some property in the FCT and you believe that, oh, you have something to yourself. Then all of a sudden, a new government comes in and your title is revoked. Just imagine having a piece of land, having some property, and your title is revoked. That's quite unpleasant. I do hope all these matters are resolved. At some point, some people were protesting, a lot of demolitions going on. I saw some myself. I was right there in Abuja. A lot of people crying, wait, 4 feared killed in Ogun, called clashes. Lagos PDP attacks Jandor over return to APC. Lagos PDP attacks Jandor over return to APC. You will recall that Jandor actually, left the party, left the PDP. And again, they said he actually gave them the worst results. So why are they attacking him now? They are claiming that he actually gave them the worst results ever, the worst election results ever. So the man decided to, join the APC, and now they are attacking him. What do you expect? If you move, they criticize you. If you stay, they criticize you. So that's life for you. Moving on to other stories on the Punch newspaper this morning. Amosun, Dangote differ over cement plant demolition. Amosun, Dangote differ over cement plant demolition. You can read up the rest of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. And finally, from the Punch newspaper this morning, military attacks, electricity workers, discos blame federal government, threaten strike. Military attacks, electricity workers, discos, that's distribution companies, blame federal government, threaten strike. And that will be all from the Punch newspaper this morning.
And the Guardian is next. The Guardian newspaper, eyes on Rivers CJ as impeachment plot thickens against Fulbaran deputy. Eyes on Rivers CJ as impeachment plot thickens against Fulbaran and deputy. And you have the picture right there of Mr. President himself, and the River State Governor, Sim Fulbaran, the former governor, Yesam Wike, Martin Samauli, the State House of Assembly Speaker, and of course, my Lord, the CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria, my Lord Kekere Kundea. And we wait to see the power play, the intrigues, the dynamics, and where the pendulum will swing, even while the House says that they have gone on indefinite, break. John sitting while there, they summoned the governor and made allegations against him, and we learned he has been served, but the government are saying they have not been served. Okay, we wait to see how this pan out. Now, lingering court order, litigations trail Shell's $2.4 billion divestment. Lingering court order, litigations trail Shell's $2.4 billion divestment, and Nigeria, Brazil, $1.1 billion green project kicks off. Nigeria, Brazil, $1.1 billion green project kicks off. AGF lacks power to prosecute electoral offences, court rules. Attorney General of the Federation, AGF lacks power to prosecute electoral offences, court rules. You have the detail of that on the news page 29. So who has the power? You will get to know. Now, debt servicing fell from $540 million to $276 million, say CBN. You have the picture of the CBN governor there. Debt servicing fell from $540 million to $276 million, say CBN. Ordinarily, that should signify some level of positivity and progress. And just like I said, the picture of Layemi Cardoso, the CBN governor, is there. Below that, Nigeria's inflation sustains downward trend, slows to 23.2%. Quite instructive to see this headline. Nigeria's inflation sustains downward trend. Downward trend has been sustained, not really improved. Slows, by the way, to 23.2%. And Dangote to reconstruct the Itoru cement plant, build the local airport. And bottom strip, Jandor returns to APC as PDP describes exit welcome relief. Interesting one there. Jandor returns to APC as PDP describes exit welcome relief. And top strip, by the way, Jandor used to be in the APC, and then he went to the PDP and he spoke on a range of things on godfatherism, how it must be abolished and all of those things. But then he became a distant thought in the election, in the gubernatorial election in Lagos State, because it was won as declared by INEC, by Babajide Sanwo-Olu, followed by the candidate. And the candidate of the Labour Party there, Gbadebo's rival, and then Jandor. But then he has returned, quote unquote, home. And the PDP said he's a welcome relief for them. You know, he used to be Jimmy Agbaji as their gubernatorial candidate, then he switched to Jandor. We wait to see who will be next for the gubernatorial candidate of the gubernatorial candidate of the PDP in Lagos State. Now, top strip of the Eastern Guardian newspaper. It says, dissociate from El-Rufai's deceptive politics. Southern Alliance wants Obi and Atiku. Dissociate from El-Rufai's deceptive politics. Southern Alliance wants Obi and Atiku. And beside that, threat to arrest Natasha, anti-democratic. CUPP wants threat to arrest Senator Natasha Putuduahan, anti-democratic. That's coming from the CUPP. And they have been warning. And beside that, you have EFCC docks Chinese and Nigerian for alleged 3.4 billion cyber fraud and economic sabotage. EFCC docks Chinese and Nigerian for alleged 3.4 billion cyber fraud, economic sabotage. As an unholy alliance there. And that will be all from the front page of The Guardian for today.
Moving to the Tribune this morning, the Nigerian Tribune. Rivers Assembly lists 19 sins in courts of Fubara. Rivers Assembly lists 19 sins of Fubara. With riders, accuses him, deputy, of gross misconduct, moves for their impeachment. Fubara says lawmakers frustrating his efforts to implement Supreme Court judgment. What Constitution says about removing a governor. That's interesting. All that on page 15 of the Nigerian Tribune. And right there again, we see the picture of the president and chief executive of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote himself, former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, and the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, during a visit by Dangote Group to the governor's office. Moving to other stories on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Nigeria's inflation rate fell to 23.3% in February. Nigeria's inflation rate fell to 23.3% in February. That's according to the National Bureau of Statistics. FCT minister revokes 4,794 land titles over non-payment of ground rent for over 40 years. FCT minister revokes 4,794 land titles over non-payments of ground rent for over 40 years. That's interesting. Moving to other stories on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Order EFCC to retrieve my seized assets from buyers. Ex-minister Diezani begs court. Order EFCC to retrieve my seized assets from buyers. Ex-minister Diezani begs court. Oyo Ogbomoso Road, contractor moves to site. Oyo Ogbomoso Road, contractor moves to site. Still on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Protests rock Abuja over relocation of Benue Tribunal. Protest rocks Abuja over relocation of Benue Tribunal. CSO's petition CJN NJC. You can read up that story on page 17. You will recall that the tribunal was moved to Abuja. That's an interesting one, and people are protesting. Why should you move the tribunal in that Benue case to Abuja? So you can read up the rest of that story on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper, page 17 rather. Moving on to other stories on the Guardian newspaper. Tinubu appoints Bishop Kuka pro-chancellor. Tinubu appoints Bishop Kuka pro-chancellor. Dangote begins construction of Itori cement plants. Dangote begins construction of Itori cement plants to build largest ports at Olokola. With riders, narrates how Amosun pulled down plants at Itori twice. Show Nigerian construction approvals for alleged demolished structures. Amosun replies him. That's interesting. I guess those were part of the discussions they are trying to have right there. That'll be all from the Nigerian Tribune this morning on the newspaper review. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the program continues. Please stay with us.